Clinical officers revealed that a team has been formed to negotiate the 2027 collective bargaining agreement.
CBA, while the latest contingent of Kenya Police deployed to Haiti has started patrolling the capital.
Port-au-Prince in Haiti. This is Prime Edition. Good evening. My name is Mboya.
Good evening. I am Muchuma Odim. Top in this broadcast.
The axe is up.
9 state corporations to be dissolved, 42 others with similar mandates consolidated.
Hakuna shida yoyote. Na wakati ya kufika kotini, mimi mwenyewe nitafika binafsi.
I am prepared.
Police IG affirms to honor summons over the missing Kenyan youth.
Leo nimekuja hapa kuanzisha mradi ya kuunganisha stima.
Lighting up Kakamega.
27,000 households to be connected to the national grid. And
President Donald Trump ruffles feathers of his critics and scholars with his raft of executive orders issued on day one in office.
our socials at KBC Channel 1. Let us know where you're watching us from. Our sign language expert tonight is Brian Moraro.
And tell us the stories that you care about. Let's go to our top story. President William Ruto has launched the 4th phase of the last mile connectivity program in Kakamega County.
At least 26,712 households in the populous county will benefit from the multi-billion project that seeks to have more Kenyans connected to the national grid.
Now, the president is on a 5-day working tour in the Western region.
Achola Simon with the details.
Day 3 of his working tour of the Western region, and President William Ruto continued to unwrap goodies for the region.
Tumesema kama serikali ya Kenya, stima isiwe starehe ya wadosi. Stima iwe haki ya kila Mkenya.
Kazi yangu siku ya leo pamoja na wizara yangu ya kawi na mafuta ni kusaidia Mheshimiwa Rais kutekeleza ile ahadi yake aliwapatia. Kwa hivyo mimi nitaendelea kurudi hapa nifanye kazi pamoja na Mheshimiwa Ikana ili kuhakikisha ya kwamba stima imeenezwa katika kila boma.
The president has launched the 4th phase of the last mile connectivity, and 27,712 households in the county are set to benefit.
Sasa tukisha kuwekea stima, si ndio? Ile bill, si nimewaambia hakuna kulipa, lakini bill ya mwezi.
The 2.4 billion project will see at least 392 transformers installed and maximized in Kakamega County alone to ensure more and more Kenyans can access electricity in the county.
Hii Shinyalu hii tutaunganisha watu wa Shinyalu 2,500 kwa huduma ya stima. Tumewapatia pesa shilingi milioni 243 kuhakikisha kwamba nyinyi wangwana huko makwenu haijafika stima, tufikishe stima huko kwenu. Tumeelewana?
The president was accompanied by Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, and the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Masika Wetangula. The leaders rallying the region to remain steadfast in support of the president and his development agenda.
Mheshimiwa Rais amesema hii umoja wa taifa anatafuta ili tulete maendeleo kwa wananchi. Tujenge barabara, tuweke stima, tuweke madawa kwa hospitali, mwananchi wa kawaida apate huduma. Mnakubaliana na rais?
Kama tunataka kwenda mbele na kusukuma gurudumu ya umoja wa nchi na maendeleo, lazima tushirikiane, tumuunge mkono rais wetu. Tutembee pamoja, tuhakikishe Kenya iko united and developing our country as one.
They also lashed out at the impeached former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua over his forays in the county.
Tupotoshwe na watu ambao wametolewa kwa kisheria, kwa kikatiba, alafu wanazurura hapa wanadanganya ati hao ndio kuunda serikali. Serikali ni hii na sisi tutakuwa hapa. Na mimi nataka niwaambie tumeshikana kabisa, hii Kenya itakuwa na maendeleo zaidi.
Hatutaki watu watoke kule nje kuja kupanga sisi hapa. Mnasikia hayo? Ati Oparanya ameenda broad based, hajafanyiwa hii, hajafanyiwa ile. Hao wajue mimi niko sawa na mimi niko na mdomo yangu, nikiwa na shida zangu mwenyewe nitaongea.
The president heads to Busia County for a series of development projects that will include the launch of markets, dams and Lower Nzoia irrigation scheme at Chola Simon Prime Edition, Kakamega County.
Ikiwa ishara ya kwamba stima imefika.
That story of stima imefika. To another one now. 9 state corporations are set to be dissolved after the cabinet in a sitting in the same Kakamega on Tuesday that ratified a report from the National Treasury on the assessment of 271 state corporations, excluding those earmarked for privatization.
The meeting, chaired by President William Ruto, resolved that the move will help streamline government operation and reduce waste while enhancing service delivery.
Here is that report.
9 state corporations are on the chopping board after the cabinet sitting in Kakamega ratified a report by the National Treasury proposing a raft of reforms in state corporations. The decision is aimed at enhancing efficiency, cutting costs, and improving service delivery. The ambitious reforms, according to the cabinet, is part of a broader strategy to reshape Kenya's public sector and realign resources with the national government development goals under the current administration. The 9 to be dissolved include the Kenya Sesefly and Trypanosomiasis Eradication Council, the Kenya Fishing Marketing Authority, Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa, the President's Award Kenya, Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, the Kenya Film and Classification Board, National Council for Nomadic Education, and the Lapset Corridor Development Authority. The functions of these entities will be transferred to the relevant ministries or other state bodies to ensure continuity and improved accountability. The cabinet also plans to consolidate 42 corporations with overlapping mandates into 20 entities. Some notable mergers include the Higher Education Loans Board and the University Fund to better manage education financing and increase access to higher education. The Kenya Tourism Board is also set to merge with Tourism Research Institute to create a unified body for tourism promotion and research. The Kenya Rural Roads Authority and the Kenya Urban Roads Authority will be merged to establish a single roads authority focused on connectivity across rural and urban areas. The Kenya Investment Authority is also set to be merged with the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency to create a seamless framework for the promotion of investments and exports. The government has also identified 16 state corporations with outdated mandates or those whose services could be better delivered by the private sector. Some of these corporations for privatization include the Numerical Machining Complex and the Kenya Fishing Industries Corporation, which are no longer viable due to the market changes, Pyrethrum Processing Company of Kenya Limited, struggling with declining production and outdated processes, the Tana and Athi River Development Authority, and similar regional development authorities, whose mandate can now be incorporated into existing county frameworks. The aim is to offload inefficiencies from the government while encouraging the private sector to invest in these areas. 6 state corporations are also set for restructuring to align their mandates with the national priorities. Among them is the Kenya Utalii College to modernize training in the hospitality and tourism industry, the Postal Corporation of Kenya to adapt to a rapidly evolving digital economy and declining postal services, the Bomas of Kenya is also set for restructuring to reposition itself as a center for cultural tourism. Others include the National Housing Corporation to align it with the affordable housing agenda under the bottom-up economic transformation framework. These changes aim to make these entities more competitive and relevant in their respective sectors. The reforms are further aimed at addressing a growing public debt crisis, increased physical pressures, and inefficiencies in service delivery. With pending bills by state corporations reaching 94.4 billion shillings as of March 2024, the government sees this overhaul as a critical to stabilizing the economy and enhancing the effectiveness of the public services. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
On to an item from the courts. Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja says he is ready to appear before any court if summoned on the whereabouts of the missing Mlolongo 3.
He made those remarks in Diani in Kwale County, where he said he's ready to appear in person to state the true position about the 3 missing persons alleged to have been abducted by security officers.
Here is that report.
Kanja was opening a week-long conference for top administration police commanders, said he will honor the court summons over the whereabouts of 3 people still missing after they were picked by people alleged to be security officers.
Hakuna shida yoyote. Na wakati ya kufika kotini, mimi mwenyewe nitafika binafsi. Na tutakuwa na nyinyi pale, si ni kweli? Na nitasema hiyo maneno vile nimesema hapa, sio?
Kanja, however, added that investigations on various cases of abductions are at an advanced stage and that all perpetrators he termed as criminals will be brought to book.
Nimepeana maagizo ya kwamba those investigations nataka zifanywe na zifanywe vizuri na ziweze kumalizika. Jabasi yote ambao anahusika na hiyo mambo akamatwe na apelekwe kotini, achughulikiwe kwa mujibu wa sheria. Maana nchi yetu iko na sheria.
The IG also noted that the police service is working to go online by rolling out a digital occurrence book OB to enable Kenyans to report cases using their smartphones. A move he said will help curb corruption and improve service delivery.
Sisi kama wakubwa wa vitengo mbalimbali ya polisi tutafuata kuona ya kwamba hiyo ripoti umeweka pale inafuatiliwa. So that way we will make things much better. There are many other services that are offered by the police. Kwa sababu mimi mwenyewe, I want the police to be driven to the next level through adoption and the deployment of technology within the policing services.
On to the scales of justice now. In the corridors of justice, if you like, the government of Kenya has received a request from the Kingdom of Netherlands for the extradition of Jacobus Brewer.
The Director of Public Prosecution through Senior Counsel Vincent Monda informed a Chief Magistrate's Court that the convict is wanted back in his country to serve his jail term in relation to a rape case.
Separately, at Milimani's High Court, the main suspect in the horrific murder of 4 women, you remember that story, in Eastleigh late last year, has now been charged.
Ruth Mboya compiled this report.
The Dutch courts had convicted the foreign national for 3 offences related to the rape of minors in the year 2020. The prosecution told Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina that Jacobus's attempts to appeal the conviction and sentencing have been dismissed by the Netherlands courts.
We are taking our fast break.
To serve his imprisonment. The court will rule on the deportation orders on 28th January. And the main suspect in the gruesome murders of 4 women from Eastleigh last year has finally been charged. Appearing virtually before Justice Kanye Kimondo, Hashim Danganye alias Hashim Khalif denied killing Dahalo Daud, Amina Dahir, Musaiba Abdi Mohammed, Dekar Abdi Noor Gunare in October last year. Hashim, who is currently at the Nairobi area remand prison, will remain there for 7 days, even as the prosecution had vehemently rejected his release. The case will be mentioned for February 11th for further directions. In Kangundo, 4 suspects in kidnapping of former government official Titus Muchichi Kilika have been arraigned in Kangundo Law Court.
Of the bond shall be allowed for the first in respect of the first and second accused persons. Now for the third and fourth accused, nothing has been provided to link them to the communications or rather to any communication with the complainant.
Appearing before trial magistrate Sami Opande, 2 of them were released on a bond of 5 million shillings while 2 remain in custody after it was established they were threatening Muteti's life and asking him to withdraw the case from the court. Meanwhile, Tharaka MP Gitonga Murugara, 4 MCAs and 3 other Tharaka Nithi residents have sought to be enjoined in a case at Meru High Court challenging the creation of administrative units in Tharaka Nithi.
Nimekaa kwa mahakama hizi za Kenya miaka 40. Na imani ya kwamba haki itapatikana kwa pande zote mbili.
We are the beneficiaries of these administrative units, and therefore we have to show our interest in the matter and defend it so that the outcome is also favorable to our people.
The residents want the operationalization of 4 sub-counties stopped. Those would include the Attorney General, the Cabinet Secretaries for Interior, Lands, Education and Health.
Well, that's a story that brings us to our first break. We thank you so much for making Prime Edition your preferred channel of choice.
We'll be back with more, with the detail and clarity you deserve. Stay with us.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kizongo mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings. Inch TV. Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes!
Wellness is important in our daily lives, so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have by regular checkup. People don't know they have hypertension. People they don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Your love is higher than the mountain tops. Your strength a river that will never stop.
Na watu wakipata shida wanaanza kuona ni kama huu Mungu haexist, and many people have used this as a platform of argument.
And like many other topics,
yes,
faith is one of those topics that the Bible has a definition.
Okay.
Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things that are expected, things that are to come.
Faith is not the absence of facts.
Welcome back to Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Continue talking to us on our socials. Let's know where you're watching us from. Tom, on to the Health Watch.
On to the Health Watch, that's right. The Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has confirmed that the incorporation of over 1,200 registered facilities and over 8,000 practitioners to the Social Health Authority has kicked off as ordered by the Council of Governors on Monday.
However, the union maintains that the strike is on until their advisory council advises otherwise.
Speaking with KBC Channel 1, the Union Secretary George Kibore disclosed that a team has been appointed by the Council of Governors to negotiate their 2017 collective bargaining agreement next week.
He added that a section of counties among the Meru have started promoting the clinicians, appealing to other county governments to emulate the same.
Here's that report.
I must say, today, even our officers from the council, that is the Clinical Officers Council,
have admitted that indeed they have been involved in the process of incorporating the facility owned by clinical officers that were under NHF, and also the professionals to ensure that they can be able to prioritize, or rather to see patients who are under social health authority without again using someone in registration number as it had been directed by the social health authority. We will not call off the strike until that matter is fully proven by our member that it has been addressed. On the issues of the UHC, they also wrote to the ministry so that they can that item can be an item of the next financial year budget, so that it is reflected for purpose of transitioning them to permanent and pensionable.
On to the Ajay Award story. The Media Council of Kenya, MCK, is proposing the formulation of a curricula which will support capacity building for news editors and sub-editors to enhance the quality of content for news bulletins.
Speaking during the launch of this year's annual Journalism Excellence Awards in Nairobi, MCK Chief Executive Officer David Mboya decried what he termed the increasing number of news stories which do not meet the set ethical standards.
Here's that report.
Despite the media remaining a trusted source of information in the country, the Media Council of Kenya is expressing concerns over how stories are packaged. The Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer David Mboya says there are increasing cases of unethical content dominating news bulletins.
Literally, you watch news 9 up to 10, 15, it's obituaries. Nani ameua, na kama hajao mtu nani ametusi mwingine, and all that, isn't it? We rarely have inspiring stories.
MCK is asking editors and sub-editors to up their game in the review of the stories to enhance quality of news broadcasts.
Most importantly, and I hope the judges will help us, if we need to quickly develop a curriculum for sub-editors and editors. I honestly, because stories come in, isn't it? Against what benchmark do we clear stories as editors?
Meanwhile, the Media Council has launched the 2025 Annual Journalism Excellence Awards with a keen focus on feting outstanding journalistic work, which focuses on tourism, national cohesion, and animal welfare.
Beginning this year now, we will award good journalism. If it is a health and medical story, it is one health and medical story, the best story. It will be on TV, it will be on radio, it will be on news, there will be one story. And of course, there are runners-up.
And sometimes people ask, what is in an award? Because sometimes some people feel like there's really nothing much to achieve from an award. But I can tell a lot of us who are products of these awards have excelled or have gone a notch higher because of those awards.
Joseph Ohungu for Prime Edition.
On the global scene, the latest contingent of 217 Kenyan police officers to Haiti has begun patrolling the capital, Port-au-Prince, and other towns as part of an international peacekeeping mission.
The deployment is a response to the escalating violence and widespread instability across that Caribbean nation.
Mariambo with this report.
On the streets of Port-au-Prince and major towns in Haiti, where gang activity has been rampant, the presence of Kenyan police officers is being felt.
Members of the public in this country, they are very good. They interact with us each and every day, and they give us information concerning the movements of each and every gang around. And when we get the information, we act promptly to make sure that we push them away, and we make sure that they stay safe.
The troops conduct both ground and aerial surveillance by use of drone technology to ensure the safety of residents. Superintendent of Police Edwin Kolil says the patrols will continue until peace returns in Haiti.
We are here today at Atras area where the gangs had invaded on 1st of January 2025 while this country of Haiti was celebrating the Independence Day. And we received a message very early in the morning that there is a group of gangs who has invaded Thomasin area. And we made efforts and joined hands with the PNH police, whereby we surely engage the gangs.
The Kenyan police officers trained in handling complex security situations are working alongside other international peacekeepers, including forces from Jamaica, Guatemala, El Salvador, the Bahamas, and Belize. Their presence is part of a broader effort to stabilize Haiti, which has faced political instability, economic challenges, and a collapse in security since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021.
They had invaded up to this hill and beyond, but we managed to repulse them, whereby we overpower them. And currently, the area is safe.
So far, Kenya has deployed 617 police officers to Haiti.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kizongwe mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini?
Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa?
100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Mimi nitakuchapa. Nichape, hesabu ndio hiyo balance ama kuendelea. Mimi kabisa. Hizi mahesabu upatie mtosi wako shauri yako. Mimi siko kwa hizi mahesabu. Kiani, unataka nitopoe siri? Nitopoe?
Siri gani?
Nitopoe.
Na si useme basi.
Wewe anatumia jumba ya wenyewe ya biashara kufanya biashara yako.
Mwenyewe
anaenda hasara.
Unachuaje ni jumba ya wenyewe?
Sababu si wewe analipa rent.
So what is your problem?
Wewe unatakiwa uulize
maswali.
Sikiza.
Do you know what I called through about that interview? Unajua nini nilienda through about that interview? Actually she was forcing me and then I refused it.
Ndio nakuuliza, mbona ukumwambia mwenye kazi kwamba huyu msichana umeleta ananisumbua?
Si wewe ndiye alimleta huyo msichana.
Na mbona ukumshtaki kwa mwenye kazi?
Mimi ndio usinifanye fool kwa sababu umeniweka mahali kuna temptations. Alafu nakoja.
Kwa hivyo kwa kuwa tempted.
Si kwa tempted lakini kuna temptations.
Umesema amekuweka kwa temptation. So you are tempted ndio ukafanya hivyo vitu.
I was almost there mheshimiwa. Sio kitu nimesema mheshimiwa.
Welcome back. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Quick acknowledgements on our social media platforms. Gideon Cesaro, you're watching all the way from Ravine. Harriet, you watch all the way from Kakamega. And Hezron, watching all the way from Leighton.
Keep those thoughts coming through. Let's now take a look at Trump's first day in office. And a section of opponents, scholars, and other groups have faulted U.S. President Donald Trump with his raft of executive orders that he signed on his day one in the office.
The group say Trump has exceeded the limits of his presidential power and that they will challenge the move in court.
Some of the order that has sparked outrage include starting the process of withdrawing the U.S. from the World Health Organization, mass deportation of undocumented illegal immigrants back to their home countries, declaring a national emergency at the southern border.
Timothy Kipnusu compiled this report for you.
Trump is decisive,
in office on Monday, just a few moments after being sworn in as the 47th president of the U.S., making his second return to the White House, President Donald Trump signed a raft of executive orders with far-reaching ramifications.
With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense.
Trump signed an order to begin a mass crackdown on illegal immigrants. It is feared the crackdown is targeting about 11 million illegal immigrants.
Illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
Another sweeping strategy is to end automatic citizenship for US-born children of illegal immigrants.
Thank you.
He has also indefinitely suspended refugee resettlement, a program that for decades had allowed hundreds of thousands of people fleeing war and persecution worldwide to seek refuge in the United States. Trump also signed an executive order to begin the process of withdrawing the U.S. from the World Health Organization, making it a second time he has issued such an order. He was critical of how the global agency handled COVID-19, accusing it of being biased towards China. The United States will also recognize only two genders after Trump signed executive orders proclaiming two biological sexes as male and female.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
TikTok also got a reprieve after he signed an order to delay the ban for 75 days and allow a possible resolution. In what appeared as a blow to climate change action, Trump signed a withdrawal from Paris Climate Treaty. He also issued 1,600 pardons in connection with the Capitol riots on 6 January 2021. Many prisoners are expected to be released within hours.
Back home, State Department of Public Service Principal Secretary Amos Gathecha has commended the launch of the Customer Service Excellence Training Framework in collaboration with the Kenya School of Government, noting that it will play a key role in promoting exemplary service delivery to Kenyans
at the Huduma centers right across the country. Details of this and other stories making headlines in our county news roundup.
Speaking during the second annual Huduma Center Managers Conference at the Kenya School of Government in Mombasa County, Public Service Principal Secretary Amos Gathecha noted that the government through the Huduma Centers has been able to offer government services effectively online.
So we have already established the Center for Customer Service Excellence, trained the inaugural masterclass of principal secretaries, and the Customer Service Excellence training is available in KSG training calendar. We are also at the advanced stage of finalizing the MOU between Huduma Kenya and National Police Service to train all police officers at the center for the customer service excellence.
Meanwhile, the National Gender and Equality Commission has embarked on a nationwide sensitization program aimed at addressing increased cases of gender-based violence. The program will begin in Murang'a County before being rolled out to other parts of the country.
Our visit here in the next 2 days is essentially to sit together, discuss, share ideas, ideate on what are some of the interventions that we can be able to put in place to address this menace in our country.
In Embu County, a section of residents of Manyata constituency has expressed dissatisfaction with their Member of Parliament Gitonga Mukunji, accusing him of undermining Governor Cecily Mbarire and stalling development projects.
Bandara ya kutufanyia kazi, Embu imekuwa uwanja ya siasa ya vita. Bandara ya kufanya kazi, yeye kazi yake anafikiria mtu yule mwingine ile kazi anafanya. Aachane na gavana wetu Cecily Mutitu Mbarire atufanyie kazi kwa sababu sisi tunataka maendeleo.
And education stakeholders in Migori County are calling for better remuneration and motivation for teachers to deal with the declining academic standards in parts of the county.
There are reasons as to why these schools have not been doing well. K1 Secondary School has been mentioned by Muchuma Nyanga. Again, a secondary school has been mentioned. Moi Nyatike is dying and we are seeing what are the problems. I want to call upon all the stakeholders to come down and sit and look at the deep-rooted problems that are affecting schools in this area so that they can work on them and see how to sort out the problems of education in this area.
Finally, the search for the body of a second-year student at Masinde Muliro University who drowned in River Isiku in Kakamega County has entered the third day. Simon Mugendi was swimming with 4 friends when the accident occurred.
Walikuwa wamekuja maeneo haya. Kijana mmoja ambaye hakujua kuogelea vizuri aliweza kuzama ndani ya maji. Kwa hivyo juhudi zetu tangu juzi tumekuwa hapa tukitumia local divers kumtafuta kijana ambaye amezama kwa maji.
Christine Matunda for Prime Edition.
Thank you for keeping it Prime Edition. Time for business news now. My name is Betty Kiptum. Central Bank of Kenya Governor Dr. Kamau Thuge says the announcement by President Donald Trump that the United States will increase domestic crude oil production and exports will help lower fuel prices that could positively impact the inflation rate in Kenya. Dr. Thuge says increased crude oil production in the United States may lead to reduced global oil prices, thereby lowering fuel prices in Kenya, a significant component of Kenya's inflation metrics.
The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
The Trump administration is expected to increase funding for oil and gas projects to boost manufacturing by reducing the cost of power. Central Bank of Kenya Governor Kamau Thuge says increased oil production in the U.S. might translate to cheaper global fuel prices and could reduce both Kenya's import bill and inflation.
If that results in lower fuel prices, then it's also possible that that will contribute to lower inflation in the U.S. and also lower global inflation, and that could actually be a positive for the global economy.
However, trade policies that include new or increasing trade tariffs might strengthen the U.S. market, making it attractive to investors.
Federal Reserve System may also reduce the pace at which they would lower interest rates. And again, so if that happens, that also has an indirect impact on us because of the potential of capital now flowing back to the U.S. because interest rates would remain a bit more elevated than our earlier expectation.
Kenya and the United States have been negotiating on an economic partnership agreement that could be impacted by the new policies being implemented by the Trump administration.
Just heard about those pronouncements like you had yourself. So we are waiting and watching to see how things will evolve and studying, and as that when necessary, then we can be able to take a position.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, maize flour and matatu fares will no longer be categorized among items with volatile price changes when calculating the rate of inflation in Kenya. This is among changes that Kenya has taken that also includes a reduction of sampled items from the current 330 items to 275 in efforts to harmonize calculation of the rate of inflation in the East African community.
In a major shift on how Kenya tracks inflation, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, KNBS, and the Central Bank of Kenya have reviewed the framework governing classification of core and non-core inflation metrics. This is to align with global standards and East African community guidelines.
We are working under the umbrella of the East African Community Secretariat. The statistics component of the Secretariat is being built over a period of time. In fact, the process is still on. They're expanding it with time.
Currently, the Consumer Price Index tracks 330 items, but under the new framework, 55 items are being dropped, reducing the number of items in the basket to 275.
You know, core inflation, where you've removed those that whose prices change very quickly, it now gives you room to have long-term plan. But if you're just talking of a very short-term plan, then the non-core inflation now becomes important.
Among items that were previously classified as having volatile prices that have now been reclassified are maize flour, matatu fares, omena, and local air travel.
We are still taking, still looking at inflation of all those items. So nothing is being lost. It's just that now, in terms of the refinement, we have a much better definition of core inflation, which is much less volatile and which we think then responds to monetary policy compared to what we had before.
Official says while the method for calculating core inflation has changed, it will not affect overall inflation or interest rates.
We will wait to see what the inflation for January is. We don't see much pressure right now on the exchange rate. I think our balance of payments is relatively strong. We're seeing strong inflows of foreign exchange, especially through remittances, but also tourism and exports.
Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
And shares of HF Group exchanged hands at between 8 shillings and 96 cents and a high of 9 shillings and 74 cents on a day that the financier listed 1.59 billion new shares it added through a rights issue. The firm's shares closed for trading at 9 shillings and 42 cents, representing a 5.13% price increase when compared to Monday's closing level. HF Group targeted to raise additional capital by floating 1.15 billion shares through a rights issue that could increase through a greenshoe option. Last month, the listed financier said it received applications for 1.59 billion shares worth 6.38 billion Kenya shillings, with the proceeds expected to finance the firm's expansion and automation.
This money will be put primarily in the bank itself. It's profitable, it is doing well. This is basically steroids to accelerate the growth. 15% of the money will be used to digitize the company to create greater efficiency and effectiveness and in the delivery of the services that we offer.
Officials attributed the over 38.32% oversubscription to high investor confidence.
Your vision, strategic approach, and unwavering commitment have not only strengthened the company's position, but have also reinforced investor confidence in our market's ability to support large transactions, even in a challenging operating environment.
The new shares were listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange on Tuesday. The shares opened for trading at 8 shillings and 96 cents and touched a high of 9 shillings and 79 cents in the intraday trading before retreating to close at 9 shillings and 42 cents. During the day, 345,600 shares of the company were traded, with the day-to-day movement indicating a 5.13% price increase. To agriculture now, there is need to finance sustainable financing models for agricultural small, medium-sized businesses if Kenyan agricultural value chains are to thrive. Financing Agriculture Sustainability Conference Director Dr. Charity Mutegi has underscored the need to focus on the vital role of agricultural loan classification systems with the aim of boosting financing for the food and agriculture sector.
Winners is really a dialogue that involves government. In fact, it is anchored within the Ministry of Agriculture, but also has related ministries coming together with the private sector and development partners to really ask critical questions around how financing agri-food systems should be handled, not just within the country, but within the region.
Increasing agricultural finance, especially capital flows to agricultural SMEs, has been a challenge, and the gap to financing agricultural SMEs remains. And when you talk about agricultural finance, in most cases, people think of farmers.
The economy is also struggling with double-digit interest rates, which is seen as a very big problem right now. We cannot grow this sector effectively when farmers, especially smallholder farmers, need to pay rates in excess of 20%. It's simply impossible.
And a tour operator has underscored the need to leverage partnerships with other tourism value chain partners to boost tourism numbers. Crowned Eagle Safari CEO David Iteo says key among the initiative will include promoting the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya brand and sensitizing the masses on the importance of travel to earmark Kenya as a preferred tourist destination.
Being one of them, we have the best beaches here. We'll talk about Diani. That is one of our leading beach destinations in the country. As we focus on bringing guests in, that is inbound, we're also focusing on getting our Kenyans traveling within the country and outside the country.
Further afield, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order granting TikTok a 75-day extension to comply with a law that requires a sell or ban of the platform. President Trump says during that time, the U.S. will not enforce the law passed by Congress last year and signed by former President Joe Biden. Frederick Moki has the details of these and other stories making headlines across the globe.
About 12 hours after shutting itself down in the United States, TikTok is back for many users almost like it never left, attributing its return to a move by President Donald Trump to save the app. The Biden administration had argued that TikTok could be used by China as a tool for spying and political manipulation. Opponents of a ban have cited freedom of speech as a reason for keeping the platform open. The law was upheld by Supreme Court on Friday and went into effect on Sunday, but the Biden administration said it would leave implementing the law to the incoming administration given the timing. President Trump has signed an executive order granting TikTok a 75-day extension to comply with the law that requires a sell or ban of the platform.
As of today, TikTok is back.
Meanwhile, China-made products for the Spring Festival are seeing booming sales across the world as about 1/5 of the world's population gear up to celebrate the festival, which will fall on 29th of this month. The Spring Festival is China's grandest traditional festival where people across the country return to their hometowns for celebrations. On December 4th, 2024, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, inscribed Spring Festival social practices of the Chinese people in celebration of the traditional New Year on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Elsewhere, Russia recorded a budget deficit of more than 3 trillion rubles for the third year in a row in 2024, with both spending and revenue rising sharply as Moscow ploughed economic resources into the war in Ukraine. The overall deficit in Russia stood at 3.49 trillion rubles, with revenues increasing 26% to 36.71 trillion rubles and spending climbing 24.2% to 40.19 trillion rubles. The shortfall narrowed as a percentage of gross domestic product to 1.7% from 1.9% in 2023, but was significantly wider than the initial plans for a deficit of 0.9% of GDP or 1.6 trillion rubles. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
And that's the business news. Sports news is coming up with Daniel Wahome. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kizongo mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
I'll take a look so I can be relieved.
No need, no need. I confirmed it. She's back. Let's go, let's go.
I still need to talk to her. What is she up to?
Why did Director Xue agree to take on my project? I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang. Yesterday, due to a personal matter, the shooting was delayed. I'll make up for it and ensure to stick to the schedule.
You heartless guy. You left me alone yesterday, and I had to listen to Chief singing old classics all night.
To argue again? My lady, you're already a married couple. Why do you two still compete with each other?
Wanashiriki ndoto za usingizini tu. Ala. Mambo muhimu kama unaita upuzi. Hayo ni mambo ya kitoto. Kitu kama kiko hakifichiki.
Ama kweli waso haya wana mji wao. Wewe hujua makosa yako wewe.
Tangu lini tukashabikia mimba nje ya ndoa? Basi yeye kaifungia kibwebwe na kuichezea ngoma hasa.
Sitasikia, sitaona na sitasema uovu wote unaofanyika hapa kisiwani. Umaskini wako utakupeleka pabaya sana. Maana siku hizi umekuwa mtumwa wa nafsi, kisa na maana ni wewe mwanao karembo. Basi mwanamume ni msimamo. Au unaofanya sio ya kiume.
Good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, the national under-23 wheelchair basketball team will be all out to secure their place on the world stage during the African qualifiers for the 2025 IWBF Under-23 Men's Championship slated for next month in Johannesburg, South Africa. The team has been training at Kasarani in readiness for the qualifiers. Dan Mwendwa has a story.
For the first time in their history, the team of 12 has been assembled in time by the Kenya Wheelchair Basketball Federation for training ahead of their international assignment, where they are expected to rise to the occasion this time round.
It's for the first time that the World Championship is coming to Africa, and we have been slotted there because we've been consistent in our competition, and we are one of the best teams within this region.
The team under the tutelage of Coach Maurice Ouma has been boosted with fresh talent who are ready to take the sport to the next level, just like their counterparts have done in the standard game.
The other trips we've gone to, hapo mapema, hatujakuwa tukitrain. Imekuwa tu mtu anachukuliwa kutoka home anakuja anacheza. But now that this one we've had some time to train, we know we are going to make history.
Tuko na hopes that this time tutaenda kuwapiga, si kama ya last time walitufanyia. This time tumejiandaa, the training imekuwa tough na imekuwa tuna gain more skills which that will help kupambana na the other teams, na we hope for the best.
The 2025 IWBF Under-23 Men's Africa Qualifiers will be held from the 3rd to 13th of February this year at the Madeville Indoor Sports Arena in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Venye sasa coaches zetu wameendelea kutufundisha na kutupa hizo skills, at least sasa tuko mahali.
It will serve as a qualifier for the World Championship scheduled in Sao Paulo, Brazil later this year, with only one spot up for the grabs for the participating teams. They say disability is not inability, and this is confirmed by the Under-23 wheelchair junior basketball team, which is intensifying their training at the Kasarani Indoor Arena as they aim to secure a global title next month when they head to Johannesburg, South Africa. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Moving on is that the national under-17 women's soccer team head coach Mildred Cheche is on a quest to qualify the junior starlets to their second FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup after their historic debut in 2024. The team is scheduled to start their campaign next month against Uganda in the second round after they were given a bye in the opening round.
Cheche guided the junior starlets to their first ever appearance in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in the Dominican Republic, where they recorded a historic win against Mexico, whom they beat 2-1 in their last group match. She believes they are capable of making another consecutive appearance if they come up with another formidable team.
We are hoping to win the match. It's not going to be easy because they are also an experienced side, but we also have a good team that we are going to push them to give us good results.
The Kenyan team was given a bye to the second round of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers this year, where they are scheduled to face Uganda between the 7th and 9th of March this year, before the return leg a week later. Uganda advanced to the second round after a resounding 18-0 aggregate win over Namibia in the first round. The Kenyan tactician expects to win that match, but cautions that it won't be a walk in the park.
It's a big challenge for African countries because I think the reason why they were given 5 years to host the World Cup is because they have quality facilities and they are more organized. So also other African countries should aim to have quality infrastructure.
The Kenya Under-17 women's team hopes to be in the camp by next week so as to prepare for that crucial encounter where the winners will progress to the third and final round of qualifiers. The FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup will be held in Morocco for the first time and will feature 5 African teams out of 24. Morocco has already qualified automatically as the hosts.
Now, the national women's sevens rugby team, the Lionesses, will face Poland in a friendly match this Saturday at the RFEA grounds. The Polish team is already in the country for the match, which will act as a build-up for both teams as they prepare for the World Rugby Challenger Series this year. The Kenyan team of 23 has been training at the RFEA grounds as they look out for 2 more recruits to prepare for the Challenger Series, where they are determined to reach the playoffs after they failed to make the cut last year. When they finished in 5th place, the first 2 legs of the series will be hosted in Cape Town. That's on the 1st and the 2nd of March, and later on the 7th and 8th of the same month. The top 8 teams then will proceed to the 3rd and final leg in Krakow, Poland, on the 11th and 12th of April. The top 4 teams from the Krakow competition will advance to the World Rugby 7th promotion and relegation playoff in Los Angeles, USA, on the 3rd and 4th of May this year, where they'll fight for a slot to play in the World Rugby Women's 7 Series. Now, Chelsea beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 3-1 at Stamford Bridge to end their winless run and climb to 4th on the log and leapfrog their Saturday rivals Manchester City, who are now 5th. Tosin Adarabioyo helped Chelsea get on the right track in the 24th minute. And that's the sport for tonight. Remember, lots to keep up with. Remember, the Australian Open, the first tennis major of the year. The quarterfinals being sealed tomorrow. We shall know the semi-finalists. Already we know Novak Djokovic and Sasha Zverev are through. Who else is going to be there? Let's find out tomorrow evening. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. Back to Tom and Muchuma.
Thank you very much, Daniel Wahome, for handling the sports segment. Of course, Betty Kiptum was also there earlier on. And we want to thank them so much for handling those dockets very, very well. I also want to thank my colleague here, Muchuma Odim, for doing a good job.
Most importantly, our audience, Tom.
Oh, yes.
Very active on our social media pages. We do appreciate your company, your feedback. Keep on talking to us on our socials at KBC Channel 1. And for more details on ad items and many more, do log on to www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Brian Muraro.
And my name is Tom Mboya, and we want to thank you on behalf of the Prime Edition team. Look, we'll get you again next week, same time, same place. Good night from all of us here.
Good night.